I had no idea that an innocuous camera system, meant to protect my family, would open a door to something much darker and more absurd. It all started when my neighbor, Karen, decided my property was her personal project. She wasn't just any neighbor, she was the new president of the HOA, and boy, did she take that role seriously. At first, I thought it was just the typical busybody behavior or complaining about the mailbox being too high, the porch light being the wrong color. But soon, I learned that this wasn't about aesthetics or rules, it was about control. I've been living in my quiet neighborhood for years, enjoying the calm of suburban life. That all changed when Karen got herself elected as the HOA president. She took the job unopposed, and from that moment on, she made it her mission to run the neighborhood as if it were her personal kingdom. Every small thing on my property became a potential violation. A slight overstep in my mailbox height? A target. The color of my porch light? An issue. And don't get me started on the recycling bin incident. She actually took pictures of my trash on collection day and reported me to the HOA board. But it wasn't until I installed a security camera system that the real trouble began. After a couple of break-in attempts, one of which my wife, Jess, was home for, I had enough. I upgraded the entire security setup, infrared sensors, cloud storage, even a backup power relay. I thought I was just being smart, making sure my family was safe. But to Karen, that was a declaration of war. She had a problem with the lights I installed, claiming they caused anxiety for her dog. She said the red recording light on my cameras was an attack on her. I showed her the police report about the break-ins, but that only made her more furious. She squinted at me, looking like I was the one who'd done something wrong. "I'm doing this for the community," she'd say, but I knew better. Then came the night it all blew up. One cold morning, just after 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. A live stream alert from my security system. My heart dropped. I opened the app, half-dazed, and there she was, Karen, climbing a ladder in fuzzy slippers, a spray can in one hand, a flashlight grip between her teeth like some kind of amateur spy. She was spray painting over my cameras. I couldn't believe it. There she was, narrating her actions like she was in a cheap soap opera. "This will show him," she hissed at the camera, her face inches from the lens. "No one blinds my dog with light pollution." She took a deep breath and sprayed thick black paint on the camera lens, marking it with the words, "HOA orders." It wasn't enough just to destroy my property. She wanted to make a statement. And then, as if the universe couldn't have scripted it better, she slipped off the ladder. There was a brief moment where everything seemed to happen in slow motion. She hit the ground with a thud, crushing a few flowers and a solar garden light. She groaned, slapped a gnome, and then limped away, muttering something about lawsuits. Meanwhile, I was still watching it all unfold on my phone. I was half concerned, half laughing, but mostly stunned, because what Karen didn't realize was that those cameras she thought she had disabled were still streaming live to the sheriff's department. And before she could even make it back to her house, Deputy Haskins from the county sheriff's office was already calling me, laughing so hard he could barely speak. "Jordan," he said, catching his breath, "I just watched your psycho neighbor spray paint your cams on our department feed. That's gotta be a first." Less than 10 minutes later, the deputies were knocking on her door. And when Karen saw the footage on their tablets, the color drained from her face. "That's not me," she snapped. But, of course, it was. The camera had caught it all. From the spray paint to her voice echoing HOA orders, right into the lens. She tried to call it satire, but no one was buying it. The arrest was just the beginning. Karen didn't stop there. Oh no. Less than 24 hours after being released on bail, she was already back in the neighborhood group chat, accusing me of cyberstalking her and demanding that I remove all my security cameras. She even filed a complaint with the HOA, claiming I was violating her privacy with my cameras. But the sabotage didn't end there. One night, I discovered someone had tampered with my outdoor breaker box, causing a power outage that knocked out my cameras. But what they didn't know was that I had a secondary power source hidden in the attic. I still had footage. And what did it show? A hooded figure sneaking along the back wall with pliers and a flashlight wrapped in red cellophane. It wasn't Karen, but it was someone else, another neighbor maybe, working with her. This wasn't just personal. This was coordinated. I started digging deeper, and that's when I uncovered the corruption within the HOA. Turns out, Karen wasn't just petty. She was corrupt. With the help of some friends, we uncovered evidence of embezzlement, fund mismanagement, and much more. Karen had been funneling HOA funds into her personal pocket for years, and the deeper I dug, the uglier it got. The breaking point came at an emergency HOA meeting. Greg, one of Karen's allies, stood up and tried to push through a motion to ban all private cameras beyond one's property line. He called it a matter of privacy. The irony was palpable. I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up, calmly explained everything that had happened, and then I handed over a flash drive. The footage played on the projector, showing Greg and another figure sneaking around my property, discussing how they were going to destroy Eve Wydenke. The room erupted in gasps. And then, just as Greg tried to deflect, Deputy Haskins walked into the meeting with 2 officers and an investigator. They served Greg with a court summons, and suddenly, the HOA board was under investigation for corruption and conspiracy to destroy Eve Wydenke. It was the beginning of the end for Karen and her cronies. But even after all that, Karen couldn't keep quiet. She tried to file a restraining order against me, claiming my cameras were causing her dog's seizures. She posted flyers all over the neighborhood calling me a neighborhood surveillance abuser. The entire thing was so ridiculous it bordered on the absurd, but she wasn't done. She even tried to launch a smear campaign, accusing me of violating her rights, claiming I was trying to turn the neighborhood into a surveillance state. But I had the Eve Wydenke, and the Eve Wydenke didn't lie. My son, Liam, who had built my entire security system, stepped in. He helped design the cameras to be tamper-proof, and when Karen tried to claim the footage was fake, Liam showed the sheriff's department exactly how it was all verified. The footage was legitimate, and soon, Karen's own actions were caught in a courtroom drama that played out like something out of a MOVYE. In the end, Karen was convicted of embezzlement, vandalism, and conspiracy. She was sentenced to community service and barred from ever holding a leadership position in the HOA again. But it wasn't just the legal victory that felt like the true payoff. It was the moment when the community began to heal. People started talking openly again. Conversations on the sidewalks were no longer tense. The shadow of Karen's reign had lifted, and for the first time in years, the neighborhood was peaceful again. But even with Karen gone, things would never be the same. The HOA was restructured, transparency was put in place, and I became part of the committee to help rebuild. My camera system, which had originally been installed for my family's safety, had ended up exposing a network of lies, corruption, and a woman who thought she could get away with it all. It wasn't the outcome I expected when I first installed those cameras. But I guess sometimes, all it takes is a blinking red light and a good internet connection to shine a light on the truth. What do you think? Was it right for me to expose all of this? Should I have just let it go? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on how the neighborhood continues to rebuild.